Accept it will never lead you.
Alright, who tells us what we start with?
The Ten
Oh,
Commandments.
hold on, wait. Your hands up. Jada, what do we start with?
The 10 Commandments.
Something else before that, right? Noah?
How
I know.
How we thankful for.
What are we thankful for?
Yeah.
Alright, who's gonna start us off? Noah? What are you
I
grateful
was going to say what she said.
for? Okay. Alright, Jada, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for my mommy.
Aww.
I'm grateful for Asharaya.
You grateful for Sharon? Alright, thank you, Mama. London, what are you grateful or thankful for? Speak loud so they can hear you. Huh? You want? You want us to come back to you? All right. Elijah, what you grateful for?
I'm grateful for seeing another day.
Seeing another day. I like that one.
Yes, absolutely.
He made me reconsider some stuff this time. All right. Noah, what are you grateful for? You want us to come back to you? Okay. Justice, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for all the babies, all my friends, my baby friends.
Oh, your
Especially the two twins, because now they're walking.
Oh yeah, they getting into everything, huh?
And I can chase them.
Jeremiah, what about you? What you grateful for?
I'm grateful for your whole shot.
Grateful for your whole shot. I love it. All right, before London and Noah go, I want to tell you what. Oh, okay, you're not going. That's fine. I'm gonna go instead. Okay? Or London, you want to go?
I'm grateful that I can come to picnics.
I'm
Nice.
grateful for that too. All right, I'm gonna go really fast. I am grateful that my wonderful, beautiful sister Abadiah is in the kids department with me now.
Yay!
Abadiah has a lot of fun. I'm grateful. All right. Okay. No, you said you're not gonna go, right? Okay. That's okay. That's all right.
I think I drank too much water.
Oh no. All right. So it's funny that you drink too much water when it's time to list these commandments, because you know what goes next, huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's fine. I can hold it until I.
Okay, I love it. All right, Noah, where do we go for these? Noah, where do we go?
She said me, Kaya. Go ahead. I'm waiting.
Where do we find the 10 Commandments? Jada, where do we find it?
In our Bible.
In our Bible, that's right. All right, where at in our Bible, Justice?
Exodus chapter 20, verse 3.
All right, let's go there, okay? All right, Noah's gonna name the first one, okay?
So thou shalt, I know this. Thou shalt not have any gods before me.
Okay. All right. Justice, you wanna do the next one?
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image,
Keep going.
or any likeliness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth.
Okay. London, do you wanna do the next one for us? We on 5? Justice, help her. I'm gonna push.
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve
this one, so thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them. When you went on to read the rest, we're gonna look at that in a little while, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Elijah, you wanna go next?
And shewing mercy unto thou sons of them that love me and keep my commandments.
Keep going.
Thou shalt not take the name of thy Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain.
Jada, you wanna read 8?
The Sabbath day to keep it holy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Jeremiah, you want to pick up for us?
Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Okay. Noah, you want to read 13 for us?
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Hold on.
Go one more time. Just go slower. And everyone
Thou,
can.
Sound the last one out.
thou shalt not covet.
Sound it out.
Oh, thou shalt not kill.
So 14. Look at 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Against thy neighbor.
Okay. Justice, pick up 15. So 14 is thou shalt not commit adultery, right?
Thou shalt not steal.
London, can you do 16?
Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
All right. And then Jeremiah, can you finish 17?
Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, guys. When we do the 10 Commandments next week, I want y'all to focus on everything that's in that verse. Okay. So if it says, "Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them," and then it shows you, "For I, the Lord, that God is, I am a jealous God." So we're gonna look at the whole commandment, okay? And we're gonna talk about it also for next Sunday. Yes, Jay.
Can I use the restroom?
Okay, Jay. Go.
That's what they do in my school. They do
You
this.
put up the restroom. All right.
Or else it's secondary.
Okay. So we're gonna get into today's lesson, okay, guys? I have a question for you. Does anyone know what the word hypocrite means? Justice. Make sure you speak loud.
Well, I don't know how to explain it, but I can give an example.
Okay, give me an example.
So say you tell somebody not to do something, like thou shalt not lie, but then you also lie too. So basically, you're telling somebody to do something
great, but I need you to do it one more time because we couldn't hear that well. I'm sorry.
So,
Okay.
example, if you tell somebody thou shalt not lie, and you go and you lie the next day, or you go and lie that day of, you're just basically telling somebody to do something that you're doing.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Can you give me another example? Or with that example, let me stop. With that example, can somebody stop and get the definition of the hypocrite? And I want to see if y'all come up with different, if you come up with different definitions. Elijah, I'm sorry.
So a non-believer, someone that doesn't believe.
I want you to look at the definition first, and then I want you to relate it back to what you say, okay? I want you to look, Jeremiah and Justice can help you out. I want y'all to look it up real fast, okay?
I have a definition.
She
I
has
got one too.
Okay, let's see if y'all had the same one. All right.
You go first, Justice.
A person who puts on a false appearance of virtue or religion, or a person who acts in contradiction to his or her stated beliefs or feelings.
Very good. That's good. Very similar to what I had. One who feigns to be what he is not, like he pretends to be what he is not. One who has the form of godliness without the power, or who assumes an appearance of piety and virtue. These are some big words. When he is destitute of true religion. So basically, he's a faker. He says one thing and says he is one thing, but actually does something completely opposite of what he says he is and does.
So what Sister Abadiah just said, and what you said, go ahead, Elijah, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry. I'm thinking about what you already said.
A person who pretends to have virtuous, moral, or religious belief, principles, that he or she does not actually possess, especially a person who actions belief, stated beliefs, a person who finds self-disciplines or publicly approved attitude, especially one whose private life, opinions, or statements belie his or her public statements.
Nice.
That is perfect. Sister Mercy?
I have a definition. I looked it up for children.
Okay, I'm ready.
So it says a person who pretends to be different or better than he or she really is. Someone who does not act according to his or her stated beliefs is a hypocrite.
Oh, man.
Wow.
So, you know what that makes me think of? What if just think about it, okay? What if our elder brothers and sisters sat up here and they taught us, but they didn't do what it is they taught? What would that be called? Jada?
Hypocrite.
A hypocrite. Okay. All right. Justice, were you raising your hand? No? All right. That's
I was saying hypocrite. What is the word hypocritism?
hypocrisy.
No.
Hypocritical.
Yeah, that.
That's the act, that's the verb, that's the action word of the noun hypocrisy, or a hypocrite. When a hypocrite does their actions, they are being hypocritical when they say they're one way, but they actually are totally different.
See, my definition wasn't as think someone already said it. A hypocrite is when someone who says one thing but they do another, right? So, Sister Abadiah, she always says something that was very important to me, and it's in James. I need y'all to go to this chapter. I need y'all to go to James.
I'm there.
You there? Alright. And you're gonna go to chapter 1. And you're gonna look at verse 22 and verse.
James chapter 1 and verse 22.
You're gonna wait for everybody to get it, little Yashikar. I said it because he'd grab it and it's like, wait, we don't have it yet. You gotta look at James chapter 22 and 23, okay? And wait for everybody to get it because they have to see with their eyes.
That's sweet.
So okay. Y'all ready? You need a bigger Bible.
I can't even go with things.
No, this is too big.
No,
This is
it's
too
not
big.
to the. It's just 589.
I know. It's big print, but it's big. It's heavy.
Oh, I found it, guys. What's the chapter number?
Chapter 1, verse 22
You need help?
and 23.
22.
There.
Alright. And Elijah's gonna lead us? Okay, Elijah.
Everyone ready?
Yes, we're ready.
James chapter 1 and verse 22. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own self. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
Stop. Okay, I want you to read it again.
James chapter 1 and verse 22. But ye doers of the word,
Start over. Try one more time. Look at the words and read them.
but be ye doers of the word and not hearers
Stop.
only.
He said he wants us to do what?
Be doers of the word.
Be doers of the word and not.
Be hearers.
What does that mean? Justice.
It means actually doing it, not just letting it go through your ear and pull it out.
Okay. And then Sister Mathea, she has her hand up.
It means that when you say something, you gotta be about it. You gotta not just talk, you gotta walk.
Gotta walk the walk. All right. Sister Abadiah.
When you hear like the brothers on the podium giving us direction from the Most High, it's our job to listen to what they're saying, but it's also our jobs to do what they're telling us to do. So we have to put action to what we're hearing.
Exactly. And Sister Abadiah, with that being said, if someone tells you to do something, but they're not doing it themselves, should we still do it?
It depends. If it's good or bad.
Listen, if they're delivering the word, but you may see they're not doing the word. Do you still, you hear that word, do you still receive it, and do you still do it? Okay, all right. Elijah, you laughing, y'all. Okay, keep going, sweetie. From the top, though.
But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own self.
Stop. What does it mean to deceive your own self? What does that mean? Or is it just a bunch of fancy talk? What does that mean to deceive?
Elijah, can you get the definition of the word deceive?
And Jeremiah can help you out too.
Look up the word deceive, and let's see what that word means. Does anybody have any idea what the word means? Take a guess. We're gonna look it up.
To believe something that's not true.
So I'm gonna give you an example. Remember when Eve was deceived by the serpent? She was deceived, right?
The serpent told her to get the fruit from the tree, but the Most High told her not to get the fruit from.
Exactly. So she listened to what he said, and it wasn't true. So she was deceived by what he said, but she didn't listen to what originally she was told to do. So let's get the definition of the word deceive.
And then Sister Mathea, she has her hand up too.
I have a definition.
She has a definition for you
Elijah
too.
has one too.
Okay, go ahead.
I got one too. The definition for deceive: of a person cause someone to believe something that is not true, typically in order to gain some personal advantage.
Okay. And then that's a good one. And then Mathea, that's a really good one. You made him say never mind. Sister Mathea and then Sister Rosa.
To mislead by a false appearance or statement, delude, to be unfaithful to mislead or falsely persuade others.
I got some good definitions. Mathea, you just gonna say never mind? Yeah. Okay, Justice, you have one and then we're gonna keep going,
I
okay?
don't know if we read this one or not, but it says cause someone to believe something that is not true, typically in order to gain some personal advantage.
To gain some personal advantage. She had that one? Okay, I want y'all to keep that in your head, okay? To deceive, to gain, right?
It's almost the same.
Almost.
To cause to believe what is not true, mislead his lies, to be deceive me, to be dishonest and misleading appearances can deceive. That's all.
That's
the
really
case definition.
That's really good. That's really good, guys. So I want y'all to relate this back to think about that person that is deceiving someone, okay? That has something that I'm very familiar with. It starts with a P. And it's when you're puffed up and I'm this and I'm that. And I didn't even get to finish. What, Justin? Pride. When you're puffed up and you're saying, I know this and I know that and I'm better than you and I can do this and I can do that and I don't need any of your help. And you're proud and you're boastful and that's the opposite of what? What's the opposite of pride? Noah.
Weakness.
Oh, what'd you say, Noah?
Weakness.
Ooh, well, I'm scared of you. That's my son right there, boy. Okay. Meekness. Justice.
It starts with an H.
It starts with an H. Oh man, y'all two are dinging. Mathea, you cannot say it.
Wait.
It starts with the H.
Humble.
Good.
For me.
Humble, to be humble, right? Humility, to be meek, to be humble. That's perfect. So you have pride versus humility, right? That's perfect. Jada, what were you gonna say? You were gonna say humility. That's right. So those are the opposite, right? That's the opposite, right? So what do you think the Most High wants us to be? You think he wants us to ride on pride? Or do you think he wants us to, Noah?
Humble.
He wants us to humble ourselves to what? To him. Why?
And to what else? What is this?
The Bible.
So it's the
The word.
word.
That's
He wants
right.
us to humble ourselves to the word. And that's why we can't be just a hearer only. We also have to be a doer, because when we do what the scriptures say, then we're humbling ourselves to the word and to the Most High.
Exactly. I love it. And so now that we have a little bit better understanding before we got to finish reading James 1 and 22 and 23, I don't like to just read scriptures and then they just say, oh, okay, yeah, this and that. I like to understand what it means. And one way I have to humble myself when I look at the scriptures, I have to come down a level, and I have to go and get help. And I have to humble myself, and I might have to go to my husband, I might have to go to Abadiah and say, sis, I don't understand this. I need you to break this down for me, okay? It's just like being in class. Like when I'm in class with the other students, and the teacher, I just help out in the class with the students. But the teacher might be right there, and the teacher can go and explain and explain and explain and explain. And the kids might say, oh, yeah, I get it. You know when your teacher asks you, does everybody understand? Does anyone have a question? And you know how sometimes the kids go, yeah, I get it. No questions, just dismisses. But they really don't understand. So I'll raise my hand and I'll say, you know what, Miss Smith, I really don't understand number 23. Can you please do it again, or can you do a problem like it? Or with that problem, can you go ahead and explain it in a different way so that I can understand? So that you have to have a level of humility to actually understand, you know what? I need help. I need to bow down myself to get a better understanding. It's just like with the scriptures. I may have not understood that, but I could go to Abadiah and say, Abadiah, she's been doing this for a really long time. And she's going to have a better understanding, so she could teach me. But I have to first allow myself to humble down to say, hey, I need some help. I need some guidance. You have to lower yourself, okay? Y'all get that a little bit more? Jeremiah, your face is so intense right now. Okay. All right. Now, Elijah, I'm going to have you go ahead and finish up the scriptures that we started, okay?
Can I start from verse 22?
Yeah, 22. Yeah, 22.
James chapter 1 and verse 22. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word, and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
What the heck does that mean? What does that mean? If any be, what did he say? The last part.
He is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
What does that mean? And we can humble ourselves, and we can ask our sisters around us.
So if we're not, like we just read earlier, if we're not actually performing or applying action to what we're hearing, then we're not learning. We're that natural person that didn't know before we got the knowledge, before we got the word. A lot of us didn't understand what the Bible meant until we came to class. And the brothers wrote scriptures down and helped us to understand. We were in our own natural state. We had no knowledge. We were without wisdom. Then we get the knowledge, and when we get it and we apply what we're learning, then that's wisdom. That's being a doer of the word when we apply it, right? And not just hearing. So we have wisdom then. Then we're not just that natural person without wisdom. Okay? So if we don't apply what we learn and we look in the mirror because we're just a hearer of the word and not a doer, then we're that person that doesn't have the wisdom.
Just like that.
That's what we are, natural. Like, you know, in the scriptures, the brothers talk about how before the Most High blew into Adam's nostrils the wisdom, he was without wisdom. He didn't know anything. And then when he put that wisdom in him, he was able to do a lot, right? The same is with us. This word is for us the knowledge, and when we apply or when we do what the word says, then we have wisdom. Okay? We all want to have wisdom, right? Because we want to be able to do what the Most High wants us to do, right? Not our own, because without this, are we real smart without this word? No, we're not smart at all. Not at all. But once we get the word and we hear it, and then what do we do after we hear it? We do it, right? And then once you do it, aren't you a lot smarter? Yeah. So we have to apply and do, and that's what that means.
And the last thing, she said something very specific. She said previously we didn't have any wisdom, right? Does anybody know what wisdom is?
Knowledge.
Thank you. It's the correct application of,
Knowledge.
say it again, Noah.
Knowledge.
Good. Perfect. So if you know all this stuff, if you know the Bible, what does that mean you have to do? You have to apply it, right? You have to apply it not just to when we hear in class, we have to do it when we're outside of class. We have to apply it to everything, right? All right, perfect. Now we ready to go to Matthew chapter 23, verse 1. Jada, wake up. You weren't asleep, but you were looking out the window like, are we done yet? You up? Come on. All right, Jada, you about to read verse 1. You ready? I just wanted to make sure you were up. I'm just playing. I have Elijah and Noah up. Look at Jeremiah staring straight into the screen. I see you. Into the camera. All right, so I'm sorry, Elijah, you're going to start us out and read through 3, and then Jeremiah, you're gonna pick up from him, okay? No, I'm sorry, Elijah, read through 5, and then you're gonna pick up on 6, Jeremiah, okay?
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All thereof whatsoever they bid you observe, observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not.
Stop. For they say and do not. So what we just read in James chapter 1, verse 22 and 23, I want you to put your minds right there, and I want you to read it one more time. Start at the top.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. All thereof whatsoever they bid you observe, and do, but do not eat after their work, for they say and do not.
Okay. Justice.
I'm confused.
Hold on.
Are we on chapter 1 verse 23? Because you said 1 verse 23 and you said 23 verse 20.
Yeah, we did 1 and 22 and 23 in James. Now we're at Matthew chapter 23 verse 1. Okay. Alright, I'm sorry. Take it from the top one more time.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 1. Then spake Yahushua to the multitude and to his disciples, saying, the scribes and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat, all thereof whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do, but do not eat after their works, for they say and do not.
Okay. Keep going.
Verse 4. For they bind heavy burdens and grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Okay. Now I need Sister Abadiah to break this down a little bit more so that we can understand. Okay?
So Yahushua was, of course, speaking to his disciples and the people, and he was talking about the Pharisees and how the Pharisees were in the same kind of position that Moses was in. He was a leader, and he led by example. And so the Pharisees were also leaders. They were supposed to lead by example. And what that means is when they spoke of the word, did they actually do what the Bible said according to what the scripture is telling us? Because in verse 3 it says, all therefore whatsoever they bid you observe. So the people that were actually listening to the Pharisees, that observe and do, but do not ye after their works, for they say and do not. So they were actually telling the people to listen to the word and do what the word says, but they weren't actually doing it
Themselves.
themselves. So they were called what?
Hypocrites.
Good.
Very good. That is the example of a hypocrite. Now, was Moses a hypocrite?
No.
And we talked about Moses yesterday in Sabbath class, right? And even in class we talked about, it was brought out how meek Moses was, right? He was very meek and very humble. And so that's why the Most High had him in the position to lead Israel, because of his meekness and his humility. And so was Yahushua, very meek and very humble. But they led by example in doing the word, not just a hearer, but a doer also. When Yahushua was told to come down and sacrifice himself, he did it, right? He heard what was ordered for him to do. He came down and he did it, and so did Moses. Moses was directed to lead Israel out of Egypt. He did just that, right? So they weren't hypocrites because they were actually telling, like in here in the scripture, Yahushua was telling his disciples to do certain things, to heal, to go and teach. And was Yahushua doing that? He was healing and teaching, right? Yeah. So was he a hypocrite? No. And Moses did the same thing. Moses was leading the people, and he was out there in the trenches and staying up and counseling and directing. And when he asked others to do that, was he telling them to do something he hadn't done himself? No. He was doing what he had done himself. So they were not hypocrites. But these Pharisees, they knew the law, but they just wanted to sit up and look like they applied, but they didn't. So they were hypocrites.
They were very deceiving, right?
Very deceiving.
They were very deceiving. So you have the ones that were prideful, and you have the ones that were humble, and they were full of humility, right? And meekness. Alright, so now we could go. I never want us to go on to another verse unless we understand what we're reading to begin with, okay? It's just like reading a book and not understanding and not comprehending what it means. So when it's time for you to take your test, you're like, I don't even know. Okay? Okay, so I'm ready for you.
Verse 5. But all their works they do for to be seen of men, they make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
Okay. Jeremiah, what do you think that means? So, but all their works they do for to be seen of men. Who are they talking about, first of all? So the work, not the prideful ones. Who are we talking about? The prideful ones, they do everything to be seen of men. What do you think that means? Do you think that they're being sincere, like Yahweh was being, or like Moses was being? You think that they weren't doing that, right? Okay. All right. So I want you to remember, Elijah, read 5 one more time, and then you're gonna pick up at 6, Jeremiah. Okay. So think about this verse right here. Go ahead.
Verse 5. But all their works they do for to be seen of men, they make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the borders of their garments.
Pick
So,
up.
let me ask a question. So that word phylacteries, that's a big word. Can someone look that word up for me and tell me what it means? And it said that they, their works they did were for men, to be seen of men. So who should we be doing our works for? Who should we want to see our works?
Jada.
Jada. The Most High.
Right.
When we do anything, who are we supposed to be doing it for? Noah. When we do anything, who are we supposed to be doing it for?
The Most High.
Exactly. Are we supposed to be doing it just for men?
No.
So Elijah, when you stand up and you read, and Jeremiah and Noah, when you read and you go out and you street speak, are you doing it for men or are you doing it for the Most High?
The Most High.
Exactly. So these men that the scriptures were talking about, that Sister Asharai was saying were prideful, had lots of pride and humility, they were doing this to make themselves look good or important to other men, not the Most High, but to men. And so what does phylacteries mean?
The definition for phylacteries: a small leather box containing Hebrew text on vellum worn by Jewish men at morning prayers as a reminder to keep the law.
So they put these phylacteries on them, and then when the brothers have their garments on their tunics, they have the border of blue, right? So it says they enlarge their borders on their garments so you could see that border. So they were literally just putting on their garments and these phylacteries and enlarging their borders to be seen of who?
The Most High.
No. Who do they want to get recognition by?
The men.
The men. Because don't you get recognized when you wear your garments? Yeah, you get recognized. People want to know who you are. Because you look different. You look impressive. important when you got your garments on, right?
Fine.
So when these men have the word and they're wearing these garments and they're looking important and they're supposed to be leading people, but they have lots of pride, do you think the Most High is pleased with them? No, not at all. If you put on your garment and you put on your garment and Noah, you put on your garment and you went out street speaking and all you wanted men and people to see was your garment, would the Most High be happy with you? No, because you're not representing him with humility. You're only wearing that garment to get recognition from men and people. And so that's what these men were doing, which was another reason why they were hypocrites. Because did Yahushua boast himself with a garment? He actually blended in like everybody else. You didn't even know who he was until he spoke, and with his wisdom, people listened because they were without wisdom. So he sounded important, right? He had a lot of information to give, but he looked just like everybody else. So that was humility, right? And so that's what makes them different. The Pharisees versus the pride of the Pharisees versus the humility of Yahushua and Moses. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am. You ready? That's you, Jeremiah.
Matthew chapter 23, verse 6. And love the uppermost rooms at feasts, and the chef seats, and the chief seats in the synagogues, and greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither ye be called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. I keep going.
To 12.
But he that is greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted.
Keep going, buddy.
But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering and to go in.
Keep going.
Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for pretense. Make long prayer, therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation.
Elijah, pick up on 15.
Verse 15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye compass sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he is made, ye make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves.
Stop. Okay. Alright. So, everything that we just talked about, you guys know the order and which it is you should be following, right? So when we look at pride versus humility, and we look at these examples that we have set for us in the Bible, we also want to relate it back to what we deal with every day here in our world, okay? Because the world that we live in and the things that we do is totally different than what everybody else does. Would y'all say that same thing or no? Do you guys agree that the life that we live is totally different than everybody else's? Alright, so we know that we have to not only be hearers, but we have to be
Doers.
of what?
The Most High.
The Most High and what?
The Word.
His word, okay? His word represents what?
The wisdom and
The-
knowledge.
Right, okay? So when we go and we move in a prideful way, it's something that the Most High is not pleased with at all. Matter of fact, it's a what? What is pride?
Meekness.
It's the opposite of meekness, but what is pride?
Hatred.
Okay? Jeremiah.
Boasting.
Boasting. Okay, go a little bit more. Maybe Abadiah can help us. Oh, Sister Tanya can help us. It's sin. It's sin. So are we supposed to be doing this in any kind of way? A lot of times we ride in pride and we don't even notice it. I know that I do. But go ahead.
No, I'm saying I do.
You do, so, and the thing is, pride can be so high and it can come from so many different angles. We don't know that we do it until somebody else checks us. Cause I know I get checked a lot, okay? but I have to remind myself, hold on, wait a minute, come back, because we try to do better each and every day, right? All right, okay. Now the last thing that I want y'all to look at, I promise we're wrapping up right now, okay? You guys did wonderful, but I want you guys have that understanding that Yahushua wanted the people to follow the ways of the Most High, right? And he didn't want us to follow those ways that the Pharisees they weren't practicing the law. They were just, wanting to be seen of men. They were very deceptive, okay? So I want y'all to think about what a person's humility as a leader, for our leaders, for our elder brothers and sisters that teach us each and every day. If they were hypocrites, what do you think it would do to our body? When I say our body, I mean us as a whole camp together.
Righteous.
Do you think it would lead us to righteousness or away from righteousness? If our elders were hypocrites.
Away from righteousness.
Away from righteousness. Right?
Huh.
What do you think that it would keep us coming to class and doing what it is we do and building the kingdom and raising up children and all of that good stuff? You think it would happen? No, but go ahead, Justice. They would be like the church. Thank you. They would be like the church. So we are completely different because we know in the churches, they go and they preach and they ask for money and they tell you to do this and they don't follow the Bible. They'll go and not open it up and apply and do what it is it says for them to do, right? So we would be just like the church. And that was the question. That was the next question. Who would we be like if we were the hypocrites? And we would be just like the church. Exactly. All right, so when you guys get a minute, I know we're getting ready to close out, but when you guys get a minute, I want you to go over this chapter that we just did. It was Matthew 23, and I want you to tell me what stood out, what verse stood out the most to you. And you can also go back to James chapter 1 and verse, was it 21 and 20, 22 and 23? I want y'all to tell me what stood out the most to you and why. while you're looking for those, I'm gonna ask the younger ones, Noah and Jada, have you ever told somebody to do something but you didn't do it yourself? Can y'all think of an example? Right now we're practicing humility, so it's totally fine to say it, okay? That's like yesterday. You remember yesterday? I have to embarrass someone real fast. It's my husband. Don't tell nobody, y'all. No one knows we're here. We are not live. Yesterday, what did your dad tell you? He said, Noah, did you brush your teeth? Huh? And he whispered to me, he said, you know what? I ain't even brushed my teeth today. And I said, shh, he gonna hear you. He gonna think we're hypocrites. Don't say that. You remember that?
When I said I didn't brush my teeth.
But we couldn't yell at you, and we couldn't yell at you if we didn't brush our teeth, and then we told you, go brush your teeth, right? That was being a little bit of a hypocrite, right? Am I right or wrong?
Right.
Alright. Jada, can you think of anything? My older kids, y'all make sure y'all looking for y'all verse, please. Just as you have yours? You have your example or you have your verse? Get your feet up to see, baby. Jada, can you think of a time when you told somebody to do something, but you didn't do it yourself? Not yet?
Yes, you can, Jada.
Okay, now Justice, we're gonna listen to your verse, okay? And then we're gonna wait for our 2 men up here to get theirs too, okay? Justice, go ahead.
James chapter 1 verse 22. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers, only deceiving your own selves.
Okay. And why is that significant to you?
Because if I tell Noah or Jada or just anybody to do something, but like if I'm telling them not to do something, like hey you can't do this or you can't do that, and I do it myself, then I would feel bad and be a hypocrite.
Alright.
So that's why it stands out to me, and I gotta remember that when I tell them.
I know exactly what you mean. Alright. London, is it anything that you remember?
I'm still for the verse.
Okay, no problem. Now my 2 big boys up here, you know I'm waiting on y'all. Looking like y'all elders. With your hands like this and everything. Like hey Justice, while you're waiting, I want you to get those I want you to come up here real quick. And Justice and Noah. For our vocabulary, Noah, say this word. You remember what that means? Please. Say it. Baba Kusha. What does that mean? Please. Okay. Lama. Learns. Okay. Do you think you can say this in front of everybody? While they get their verses and you look at this? I know you know what this is because you say it every Sabbath. What is that? It means please, right? Okay. Lama. It means learn. Okay. La sha one. That's the language. So that would be our language. Okay. So, here we go. Right here. I want you to look. Which one stands out to you most? Push up. Right? Alright. And what does it mean? Please. Please. Shh. Hold on. You need help with your verse? You need help with your verse? You're gonna go to Sister Abadias, okay? Or Sister Tanya. Okay? Go. Alright. Justice. You wanna go ahead and do these? Noah and Justice, y'all want these together? You don't wanna do it? Okay. Can you do it? So, Baba Trisha, please, learn, language. pause on this one, okay? Yeah, it's what? Yeah, you know those. You know those. So why, you ready for your verse? Okay, so we're gonna do your verse first, Elijah, and then you can do one of these here.
Okay.
You can do them. You wanna do them all? Okay. All right. So Jeremiah, you gonna go ahead?
I need a
I'm sorry, Elijah. All right.
Matthew chapter 23 and verse 9.
So Elijah is letting us know what verse was most significant to him. He's gonna read it and then he's gonna let us know why it was important, significant to him. Okay?
Matthew 23 and verse 9. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. What I understand from that is that we can't make, back to the commandment which is thou shalt not make any God before you. Like we can't make no man our God, only our Father Yahweh.
Nice. Perfect.
Nice.
Remember last class when he tried to make us stop? The king tried to make us bow down to the golden image.
All right. Who was that king from last class?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Jada.
Jada.
Nebuchadnezzar. She said he put who in the fire?
Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego.
Perfect. All right. Okay, Elijah, I'm sorry. And Justice. And everybody, actually. All right. Now, hold on. Okay, and then what happened?
And then there was 4.
And then it was 4. Who was the fourth man? The angel. It was the angel. Perfect. All right. Now, between Jeremiah, go sit down. Everybody, go sit down. Between Jeremiah and London, y'all can let me know. Did y'all find a verse that was important or? Okay. All right. So you're gonna go, and then London. If you don't find yours just yet, it's okay. Did you find yours? You did. Okay. So y'all two are gonna go, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Okay. So Jeremiah, what was important to you?
Matthew chapter 23 verse 8. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. I like the last part because sometimes I forget. I fight with my cousin Elijah, and I have to remember that he's my brother and we're not supposed to fight.
That's right. Okay. I like that. Okay. All right, London, you want to share yours with us? Okay.
Matthew verse 23. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass.
Okay. And what made you pick that one? Why was it important to you? And remember, you just talking to us. You letting us know why that was important to you. So you can't have a wrong answer. Okay? So why was that important to you, sweetie? Did it stand out to you because it's something that we have to do? We can hear the truth all day long, but if we don't do the truth, then what's the sense in even hearing it? Right? It's kind of something along those lines, right? Okay. So we want to make sure that we hear the truth, we receive the truth, and we do the truth, right? All right. Jada. Okay, Jada, go. say daughter?
Bana.
Bana. Yes. Alright, let's practice one more word. When we send up prayers on Saturday, on the Sabbath, and we say Baba Kosha, what does that mean?
Thank you.
I thought that was the water.
But it's not. It means please.
It means please. So how do you say please? Baba Kosha? Baba Kosha. Stop. Okay, one more word. One more word. Justice, what's that one more word?
Which one is for?
Pick one or two.
Lashawan.
What's that?
Lashawan.
Lashawan. What is that?
Language.
Language. So what is our language?
Hebrew.
Hebrew. So let's say it in Hebrew.
Lashawan.
Okay. All right. And one last one. Jeremiah.
Shield.
Shield. There you go. What is it? All right. So we could call them out again. I forgot we had a lot of words.
Wait, can I?
Wait. So what's my shield?
Gun.
Light.
War.
What else? Language. Beautiful. Daughter.
Banana.
Okay. So I need some more structure when it comes to vocabulary.